Hello everyone, welcome to the Strategy Meeples YouTube channel. It's been a while since I made another TLS video, so today we'll be looking at buildings in the game of Castles of Burgundy. So technically in a regular game of Castles of Burgundy, you will find 8 different type of buildings. And this train is an extra building from the expansion, but since it's still a part of the game, we will cover it in this tier list. Okay, so looking at the criteria or the different sections that I have, so you will notice that unlike the yellow tiles tier list video in which I had like a broken tier, an S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, there's only 2 tiers of buildings and those are A plus and A. And the main difference between these two, it's a very thin line. So any of these buildings can be better than the other situationally. So I wouldn't rely too much on this. Like overall, like guideline wise, it's pretty solid. But in certain situations, you would have to prioritize some buildings over the higher up buildings on the tier list and vice versa. So yeah, let's get into it. So looking at some statistics, so I have a rules page pulled up over here. So castles can be a very mathematical game. Like from a numbers perspective, it's always helpful to know like how many different types of tiles are remaining that can show up. So for example, if you look at the buildings, there's 8 different type of buildings in the game, like I said, and there are 7 buildings of each type. And out of those, 16 are with black packs. So all the remaining buildings can show up throughout the game. And like black, even in the black market, you can get a number of combination of these buildings. Okay. So let's just jump right into it. Actually, let me see if I can look at the official rulebook for the second edition, what it says. Trying to go to the building descriptions. Okay. So yeah, buildings is another tile that's available in Castles of Burgundy. So if you look at the official description, these are also called the beach tiles. And it says that whenever you place a building in your duchy, you immediately and only once may use that building's effect as pictured by the symbols on the overview board. Important, each of the 8 building types may be built only once per town. And that means a continuous area of beach spaces. Depending on duchy, there might be 2 to 6 towns of various sizes, 1 to 8 spaces. Okay. So by that, they mean that, so these are like the different type of boards in Castles of Burgundy. So the general rule is that each region of building is called a town, and in each town you can only have a certain one type of building. You cannot repeat them unless you have yellow tile number 1, which allows you to do that. So if you look at yellow tile number 1, it says if this tile is in your estate or duchy, you may ignore the rule that only one building of each type is allowed in each city. I guess they're calling it city over here, so we can call it city too. But yeah, that's what it means. So yeah, I'll cover that in the video as we go through the buildings, and I'll just give some examples through the different type of boards. And yep, let's get into it. So the first building on the list is the bank. So let's see what the bank does. So the bank says when placing this tile in your estate or duchy, you get 2 silver coins. Okay. Now that is a really good effect in the early stages of the game, because early on you have not put a lot of mines on your board. So it's hard for you to accumulate some silver for buying the good tiles from the black market. And that's where the bank really comes into play and has a lot of value. So I would say phases A, B, and C are the best phases for picking up a bank. I usually not never, but unless I'm working on a really big region of building and I need the bank as a distinct building, I won't usually prioritize picking up a bank in phases D and E. Because at that point, you already have like 1 or 2 mines on your board. You might already have, say, yellow tile number 3, maybe yellow tile number 13, maybe, yeah, some of these tiles. So you already have like an action economy or like a currency economy going. So the bank might be too slow to pick up in the later stages of the game. But early on, it's really strong. Like if your opponent blocks you from getting a mine in phase A or even in phase B, a bank lets you overcome that. It reduces your reliance on selling goods to get silver. You can just place a bank and be guaranteed that you have the 2 silver going into the new round. And that, in my opinion, is a very strong effect. So I would put bank in A tier right here. And the way this will be structured is the left would be the more stronger tiles, and towards the right it'll be, I'll classify as lower on my tier list. Okay. Let's look at the next building. So this is the boarding house. So let's look at the effect. Boarding house. So when placing this tile in your estate or duchy, you take 4 workers. Okay, so let me see if the description is more detailed over here. Okay, yeah, let's look at the description from here. It's basically the same. They've just simplified it on BGA, but we can look at the official description. So boarding house. When placing a boarding house in your duchy, immediately take 4 worker chips from the supply. Okay. So this is also an incredibly strong effect. What I will add for this though is that taking and placing a boarding house is the same effect as spending 2 die to take workers. So basically, a boarding house, if you take with 1 die and place it with the other, you are spending 2 actions, right? To get like 4 workers basically, plus 1 tile on your board. Now, if you spend 2 workers, if you spend 2 die just to get the 4 workers, it's giving you the same benefit minus the additional tile. So you always technically have the effect of the boarding house available to you in the game. Like taking workers is something that everybody does at some point in this game. And boarding house, the whole point of this building is to save you those workers or make it more efficient in using your existing workers. That's a really strong effect. Like early on, I guess at all stages of the game, like say you enter phase E and there's no good tiles in the black market, but there is a boarding house and you have a lot of critical regions that you want to finish throughout the game. So at that point, I might prioritize picking up the boarding house because I want to make sure that I have the workers needed to finish those regions. And this is one of the tiles that will straight up give me the 4 workers, enabling me to start filling up those regions. Trying to think what else to add about the boarding house. Yeah, I will say that the boarding house isn't that good if you're spending a lot of workers to pick it up from the board. Like if you're spending 2 or 3 workers to just pick up this tile and place it, then it's not that strong because it's only giving you 4 workers and you already spent 2 workers to pick it. So it's technically giving you 2 workers. So if you can pick it up with like 1 or even better, like 0 workers and place it, that will give you like the maximum benefit from this tile. And this combos, I guess I should have gone through the combos. So the boarding house combos with the broken edition of yellow tile number 6, pretty good. It combos with the yellow tile number 21. Each building has their own scoring tile from yellow tile number 16 to 23. So that's similar for all buildings. But some of these utility tiles combo with these buildings too. This boarding house actually combos pretty good with yellow tile number 8. I know I put yellow tile number 8 kind of low on my knowledge or yellow tiles tier list, but recently I've had a few games where this tile has been pretty good. So, and boarding house makes it even better because that way you get a surplus of workers and each of those workers can be used for plus or minus 2 manipulation of the die. So that's really strong. And all these buildings do combo with yellow tile number 9, which allows you to place these buildings by changing the die result by up to 1. Okay. So you have all that being said, I would put boarding house as an A+ tier building in the game. I think I love seeing a boarding house in phases A and B the most because that's when you want to pick up a lot of tiles from the board and have a lot of workers, and this is a tile that gives you that option. Okay, looking at the next tile in this list. So this is the Carpenters Workshop. Let's find the rule for that. Okay, Carpenters Workshop. So when you place a Carpenter's Workshop in your duchy, you may immediately take a beach building tile from any of the 6 depots on the game board, except the central black depot, and place it on an empty key space in the bottom left of your player board. Okay, basically it allows you to take a building from anywhere on the numbered depots and put it in your storage. So it's basically a way to quickly accumulate more buildings. This can be a pretty strong effect on certain maps, but on other maps it can be lackluster. So at this point, I would like to classify or put it on a tier list. Before doing that, I would also like to look at the maps in the game of Castles of Burgundy. So few of these maps have region 8 buildings, right? So one of them has a building region of 7. So board number 2 has a building region of 8. So you need 1 building of each type to finish this huge region. Board number 7 is important because it requires a region of 7 city that you need to complete. Board number 9 has these 2 big region of 6 cities. So all these boards with I would say like greater than 5 city region, on these boards the Carpenters Workshop I found is pretty strong, because it's allowing you to not only place that tile, but you also take another tile that is unique to that city, and it makes it easier for you to complete that city. So that gives the Carpenters Workshop a lot of value. It's not as strong on certain boards like like the smaller boards. Actually, I take that back. It can be really strong on some of these small boards too, if you are looking to quickly complete these regions. So say for instance that you're trying to compete with your opponent on the water on board number 6, but you also at the same point do not want to leave like one building region incomplete, like just have 3 and leave 1 incomplete. So at that time the Carpenters Workshop can also come in clutch. It can also be pretty strong on board number 5, where you have these small region of buildings. So in this case, if you take a Carpenter's Workshop in phase A, you can pick up another building and complete this region of 2. So yeah, it's a pretty versatile building, I would say. Let's quickly look at the combos with yellow tiles. So I would say it combos well with yellow tile number 9. It combos with the scoring tile, and that's about it. And again, like all of these buildings combo with yellow tile number 1 as well, because if you're working on a big city region, then having that tile is great. So yeah, I would put the Carpenters Workshop in A tier and right below the bank for now. I think it might go lower on the tier list compared to some of these other buildings over here. Okay. Let's see. So let's look at the next building in this tier list. So that is the church. Let's go and take a look at the rules. So the church says when you place a church in your duchy, you may immediately take 1 mine or monastery or castle tile from any of the 6 depots on the game board and place it on an empty key space in the bottom left of your player board. So basically, a church allows you to take either a castle, a mine, or a yellow tile from anywhere on the board except the black market and place it in your storage. So an incredible building tile. I think I do use it in a lot of my games. It has a lot of value. A common strategy that you would see in high elo games is players would just take the church and take it into a new round if they want to compete with their opponent on like mines and castles, say for instance. And in that case, if you have a good die position open to place that castle, you could just place the castle and get the mine or castle or a yellow tile. So a lot of utility with the church. It's really strong also if you get the church for free. So say for example, like the black market doesn't have any good yellow tiles or animals or ships that you want to pick up, but you see some buildings and one of them is a church. And say for example, you need to pick up a castle, right, this turn from spot number 2, but you roll like a 5 and a 5 or like a 5 and a 4. So that's not an ideal roll to spend 2 workers to, or 2 or 3 workers to pick up the castle. But you have the church available in the black market and you can place it for free. So that's essentially giving you a free way to pick up this castle. And at the same time, wherever you place it, it's contributing towards finishing that region as well. So you'll see a similar line for the castle with the market. So I think that, the church and market are similar in that way. So I would put the church right above Carpenter's Workshop over here. I think it has slightly more value in what it can do. And let me think if I want to mention anything else. I think that's good. So next, let us take a look at the town hall. So the town hall says, town hall. When you place a town hall in your duchy, you may immediately place a second hex tile you own of any color. Okay, so what does that mean? So if you have 2 or 3 tiles in your storage and one of them is a town hall, as soon as you place the town hall, you can immediately place one of those other tiles as well. This is incredible. It's basically saving you an action, and on top of it, it's allowing you to place this in such a way that it gives you better connections on your board if needed. So certain situations, let me just create an example. If say you're playing on board number 3 and you roll a 1 and you have the town hall and say you have, for example, for the sake of this example, let's say you have like a good yellow tile that you want to place to, and you have a town hall, and you roll a 1. So if you start over here, you can place the town hall on the 1, and then you get to place the yellow tile for free over here. Now that single move gave you the connection to the castle and to this region of 3 water over here, and that is huge. And town hall has combos on all the different type of boards on the game, because again, like, this is a roll of the die game. Like, a lot is dependent on luck and your probability of rolls. Now you can get around it or like minimize that luck by playing strategically, but town hall kind of lets you ignore your die roll if you roll at least one good number for placing the town hall. Some good combos for this style are the castle itself. The castle is one of the strongest tiles in the game to combo with the town hall, because if you place, say you have both of these in your storage, you can place the town hall, place the castle, and if you have a third tile, you could place that too. Or you can even buy a tile from the board. I mean, not buy, like pick up a tile from any of the numbered depots, put it in your storage, or you could like sell goods with the castle, and that would allow you to buy from the black market. So just an amazing combination of town hall and the castle. So if you have not been using this combo, then I highly recommend. It's a really fun combo, and you can do it the other way too. Like, if say you have 2 tiles that you want to place and you do not roll good for a town hall, but you roll good for a castle, well, that means that you just place the castle, place the town hall, and place your third tile. So again, just incredible value in this combination. And it's good. It's one of those rare buildings that's good in all different phases of the game, because I would argue that in some games, like, I would love to see a town hall in phase E, like when I have to finish some critical regions or just make sure I am able to reach a certain part of the board. So town hall can come in clutch. So with all that being said, town hall is going right at the top of A+ tier, right above the boarding house. Okay, there's actually a game that I had played a while ago. I'll include the link in the description below, where I just managed to pick up like 4 or 5 town halls, and that was like a very wonky game. I had yellow tile number 1, and I had yellow tile number 1, and I had yellow tile number 23, which gives me 4 points per town hall. Yeah, that was just an insane game. Okay, so looking at the next building, so we have the market. So what does the market do? So when you place a market in your duchy, you may immediately take a ship or livestock tile from any of the 6 depots and place it on an empty key space. Okay, so it's doing something similar to what the church did. So the church allows you to take a mine, yellow tile, or castle, whereas the market allows you to take animals or water or ship. It's like, I'll just call it water because that's what I'm used to. So it allows you to take an animal or a water from any of the numbered depots. You cannot take it from the black market. So again, like, that's an incredible effect, because a lot of players want to compete for water. Like, animals can be really clutch in some games. So it's giving you a free action to pick those up, and at the same time, it's allowing you to finish the city region or contribute towards finishing the region that you're working on. In some of my games, I do like taking a market into the new phase just to have more flexibility with my die roll. If I want to make sure that I pick up a water from the board. So I would rate the market as slightly below the church. I feel like I don't think I value it as much as the church, because the church can give you like castles, mines, and yellow tiles, and those castles and mines are huge. Whereas I can just spend die to pick up workers anyways. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I'm good with over there in between the church and Carpenters Workshop. In some games, it can be pretty strong. But overall, I would put it over there. So looking at the next tile, so this is the warehouse. So the warehouse says that when you place a warehouse in your duchy, you may immediately choose the type of good you own and sell that good, as if you took the sell goods action. Okay, so it's basically giving you a free sell action for any good, any type of good in your storage. That is a very powerful effect, because that can combo with a lot of yellow tiles in the game. So let's look at some combinations that the warehouse enables. So the warehouse can combo with yellow tile number 3. It can combo with yellow tile number 4. It can combo with, I think it can even combo with yellow tile number 5, because it's freeing up space on your goods depot. It can combo with yellow tile number 6, because if you get the 2 silver, if you get your second silver by selling a good, you can use those 2 silver and yellow tile number 6 to buy a tile from anywhere on the numbered depots or from the black market. And what else? I mean, definitely 9. Every tile combos with 1. And it's just a great tile for getting maximum benefit out of yellow tile number 15 and yellow tile number 25, both of which are related to the type of goods you have sold and the number of goods that you have sold throughout the round. So it's incredibly versatile, I would say. It's good to see it in the later phases of the game too. If you're about to finish a region of city and you also have some unsold goods, then it's a great pickup. It's also good in the early phases when you're short on silver and you just need a little bit extra. So I think it has a lot of value over there. So just with that, like with all the combinations that we talked about and the early and late game value of this tile, I think I'm going to put it... Yeah, I'm debating if I need to put it at the top of A tier or right at the bottom of these 3. I think I'm going to leave it over there in A plus tier, at the bottom of A plus tier, because just the fact that it combos so well with yellow tile number 15 and yellow tile number 25, plus all these other utility tiles, I think that pushes it to this A plus tier, at the bottom of A plus tier. Okay, so looking at the next building, so we have the Watchtower. Watchtower is a very straightforward building. It's just raw points at the end of the game. So whenever you place a Watchtower, you immediately, I guess not at the end of the game, you immediately score 4 victory points. Okay, so it doesn't give you any other added benefit other than just giving you points straight up. It can combo with, I guess, just the scoring tile for it, yellow tile number 17, or it can combo with like the building tile, yellow tile number 9 or yellow tile number 1. It's one of those buildings, I will say, that is really good to pick up in the later phases of the game, like in phase D or E. You'll see a lot of high elo players start prioritizing the Watchtower. Mostly in phase E, I would say, because if you run out of things to do, you can still take and place a Watchtower. That's 4 points. So that still has a lot of value later on. It can also be great for like finishing incomplete region of cities, like if you're just like one building short. Even if it's like a short region of cities, say for example, you're on board number 5 and you just need one building remaining to finish this, the Watchtower is the perfect building for that, because not only are you finishing the like city regions, you're also getting the 4 points itself from the Watchtower. Early on, it's not that important because you need like actions or some kind of effect more, which all these other buildings offer, compared to just the points. So the points are not that useful unless you really want to finish a small region, maybe like a region 2, maybe a region 1, 2 or 3 of cities, and in that case the Watchtower can be fine, but I usually avoid it in the early phases of the game. So with all that being said, I think I'm going to put the Watchtower right below the Carpenters Workshop. Okay, so before we look at the next and the final building, which is the crane, I am going to just check these buildings to make sure I'm satisfied with where I've placed them. Okay, so the tier list at the top in A plus tier, we have town hall, then boarding house, then a warehouse, and then A tier we have at the top the bank, church, market, Carpenters Workshop, and then a Watchtower. Okay, I think I like that. Okay, so looking at the final type of building in the game that is added as part of an expansion is the crane. So what does it do? When you place a crane in your duchy, you may immediately trigger the effect of any building you want, even if that building is not in your duchy. Okay, so for example, you could sell goods to mimic the warehouse, or you could take 2 silver to mimic the bank, or you could grab a castle tile from the game board to mimic the church, and so on. Additionally, during final scoring at the end of the game, the crane counts as a building of your choice for the corresponding monastery tiles. Okay, this can be a different one from the one you triggered when placing the crane. Okay, so that means that if you pick up any yellow tile, no matter what it is, and you place a crane, you can always consider it to be any of those types at the end of the game and score 4 points from it. So worst case scenario, it's a Watchtower if you have any of these yellow tiles in your estate. Best case scenario, it's a town hall, or it's a boarding house, or it's any of these other tiles when you place it, because you can copy the effect of any other type of building. I think that's like a wildcard building, and that is just too strong of an effect. Actually, I'm thinking at this point whether it would have made sense to add an S tier just for this tile, but since it's part of an expansion and not used that routinely, I think I'll put it right at the top of A plus tier. Yeah, I think that effect, the fact that you can copy any of these other buildings over here is incredible by itself, but the fact that at the time of scoring you can count it for a different building to score, for which you have those yellow tile end game scoring points, I think that really puts it over the top of this tier list. Okay, and that is all we have. Those were the 8 buildings in a regular game of Castles of Burgundy, in addition to an extra building that's part of the expansion. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. Please leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel or have any thoughts on any of these buildings, or the way where, or the position, I guess, where I've put them on the tier list. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.